let's take a look at flip a clip. So to start a new project, at the bottom, I'm going to press the plus button, and let's name this drawing. Maybe it's an animation. Now, you can choose the background, so you could choose a color if you wanted, or you can choose a picture to go in the background, or you can take a picture, but I'm just going to leave it for now. I can always change it later. So I'm going to create this project. Now, with a project, you can see that there are lines, there are squares here on mine. That's the grid. So I've got the grid on. I like to use it because it makes it easier for me to see. These grid lines won't show up later on. The other thing is I have the onion on, and I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. So let's start. The tools on the left-hand side, there's the drawing tool where you can change the thickness of your pen. You can also change the color. Let's go back. There's the eraser tool, which will erase. There's a select tool, the paint bucket tool, and the text tool. So let's just start with, let's draw a animation of a ball falling. So I'm going to start here. Whoa, that's way too thick. Let's just undo at the top. And again, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to reduce that. Let's try something maybe around 10. Okay, try again. Let's draw a ball. That's okay. Okay, let's do that. So now what I'm going to do is at the very bottom there, I can add a new scene. I can add a new page. And you'll see that my first page, there's that onion skin. That's what I was talking about. That onion skin is on so I could see what it looks like. So I could see where that ball was in the first place. So let's draw this ball is falling, for example. Okay, and let's add another one. I can see where it is now. Oh, actually, I do want to go back here and make sure that I've drawn that in. Let's go back here and let's see, maybe it's falling a little bit further and a little bit further. Let's say it's just about, it's hitting the ground now. So sort of flattening out, and there we go. Now it's going to start to bounce back up. Maybe that, well, that's okay. Let's just do this. It's coming back up. Okay, so you can see how I made this ball go. And when I press play at the bottom, you can see how it's bouncing. Now, it's not perfect, but let's just make that work. Now, let's use some of these other tools. I'm going to use the paint bucket tool. I just want to color in this ball. So I can do that with a paint bucket tool. Let's choose a color, maybe sort of that color there. And let's fill in that ball. Now, what I need to make sure that I do is if these circles are not filled in, it will fill in the whole background. So I do have to be careful. Okay, there we go. And so now I have this repeating. So you can see it play. There we go. That's fine. And what I can do is I can also go up into the frames viewer, and I can see all these frames here, and I can actually select these frames. Oops, let's go back, frames viewer, and I can select them, and then I can copy them. So at the top left, I press that button there, and now at the bottom, I'm not going to trash them, but there is that this button here which has this sort of dotted with a line, the square with the dotted square behind it. So now I copied it, and then to paste on the bottom on the far right, there are those two solid squares I can paste. So you can see I can keep this animation going. So now let's go back and let's start on that first frame, and I can press play, and it's just going to repeat this drawing. So this is just the basics of flip a clip. So one of the things I can do is something like this. Let's just show you another project. Let's add a new project. Let's go faces. Okay, create a project. Now, one of the things I can do is let's create a face here. Let's just draw. Maybe I'm going to draw like this. And one of the things down here, I've got these layers. So what I want to do is I'm going to add a layer for a face, and I actually want to make maybe some eyes and a mouth. But what I can also do, let's add a third layer. And on my second layer, I'm going to add an image and from my photo library. And in my photo library, I went and found these pictures of this sort of mouth that I can use. So I'm just going to, let's go here. So right now it's in front of this layer here. You see this circle, the face layer. I could move that to the front, so I could do that first. And this layer here, it's quite strong, so I could make it disappear by pressing the 100%, or I could hold on to it, oops, tap it, and drag down, so it's not as strong. The opacity is down a bit. So now let's go back to this layer, and to select it, how can I make these smaller and move this around? Well, that's where I'm going to use the select tool. And I'm just going to circle around the whole thing here. And I'm going to maybe make it a little bit smaller. Maybe that's where the person's mouth is going to be. Okay? And now let's go and draw on a top layer above that. So I can zoom in. Let's zoom in here and let's go to my pen. And I'm just going to sort of, on this layer here. I don't have to name the layer if I don't want to. Go on the pen. I'm just going to sort of get an idea of what that mouth might look like. Now before I go on, let's draw some eyes on here so that I have it. I want to draw it on the correct layer. I'm going to draw it on just the primary layer here. So let's just draw some eyes. Oh, those are a little scary. Oh, let's go to the eraser tool, erase those eyes. Let's just draw some circular eyes. Those might be a bit scary too. There we go. Okay, now I've drawn these eyes. So now when I duplicate this on the bottom, let's just go there. On the bottom here, if I hold down on this number 1, I can copy. Again, copy is the square with a line, dotted line square behind it, and then paste is beside it. So now what I can do is, let's go to this other layer, and first of all, let's go to my speaking layer, the mouth layer, and let's erase that. Let's erase that mouth. Now, because onion skin is on, I can see, remember onion skin is on, I can see the mouth behind there, but let's go and move this so it's like he's starting to speak. So again, I'm going to circle this part and draw it, and let's move this sort of there. And now let's go back to my drawing layer, and I'm just going to draw this. Now I'm going to get really close. It's going to make it a little bit easier. Maybe I'll turn off the onion skin so I can't see that part. And let's just, I'm in the wrong one. There we go. Draw. Okay. And we have, there we go. Now I'm actually going to, let's color it in. Let's use the paint bucket tool. And one of the things I can do is, again, I can choose a color, like let's choose that color and put that in there. Let's choose another color that I've got. And there's some colors up here that you can use, but I've got some colors here. I can use that. And I'm gonna need to make his teeth white, otherwise it won't show through. So let's, or maybe we'll use that color, sort of there we go. So now, you can see what's gonna happen as he starts to speak. So I'm gonna keep doing this. Hold down, copy, duplicate, and on this new one, again, same thing, go to that top layer, use the eraser and erase that, and then go to this layer. What I do want to do is before I do that, I want to turn the onion skin back on so I could see what it looks like, the mouth looks like, so it's going to look natural. And let's go to that bottom layer here. Oops, don't want to rename it. And let's use the select tool. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to move this over. And again, I sort of want that top of the lip to line up a bit so it's going to look maybe natural. Maybe it's going to, yeah, I think it's going to look better that way. And once again, I'm going to now turn off onion skin so I don't see that part in the background. It's not distracting me. And let's go to that layer that I'm drawing on. And again, I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to grab this pen like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just sort of using this as a guide. Maybe something like that. Okay. And let's color that in. And again, I'm going to use the same colors, that one for the teeth, this one for the tongue, and this one for the other part of the mouth. Now, if you want different colors, one of the things you can do is you can use the color picker, and you can choose a color somewhere. If there's a color that you want, you can do that. Or you can just choose in here, and if you like that color, you can, so let's get to a color here. I can use that color in other things. So let me show you how to do that. So if I like that color, I can just hold down on the bottom here. You see how that changed from pink to orange here? Let's show you again. Let's choose a color like green there. And I want that color, I want that color down here. So I'm gonna just hold down and it will change. If I want that blue, just hold down on the square on the bottom and that will change to that color. So that's how you sort of adapt those colors. And so now when I look at this, what's gonna happen is, let's turn off that back layer, and you can see how it's going to start my talking. And actually, with this layer that I have here, this layer, I actually only have, I don't have many things here. I just have a few, but I can reuse them as I go along. So that's a way to create a talking person in Flip-A-Clip.